This is HRTV Rewind, taking a look back at 2011.
It's kind of a sleepy weekday in the middle of August. I was working the set. I opened the form. I'm doing Thistledown, coming up to a race. I don't have a whole lot of interest in it. And I see this horse entered in this race, and I start counting the wins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 13 in a row. I said, man, this might be a pretty good story.
1 to 5 on a 5-year-old gelding who has won 20 of 34 lifetime.
Rapid Redux continues to try to etch himself into horse racing history, 15 in a row.
Rapid Redux. I never heard of him. Little would I know that by the end of the year, there were people thinking that he might be Horse of the Year.
One of the best stories of the last decade. A 6250 claimer gets all of the country watching.
16 incredible wins in a row. 17, 18, 19 in a row.
I don't care who you are, this is an amazing accomplishment.
To win that many in a row in a year, it's phenomenal.
Just goes to show when you're winning, you're feeling good. It's amazing what the body can do.
And with all due respect to Zenyatta and Pepper's Pride, the record now belongs to him and him alone. Rapid Redux, 20 consecutive wins.
And if that wasn't good enough, what does he do? He breaks his own record. He's got 21.
Spectacular run through the record books. The star of the show is Rapid Redux.
With all the talk about Horse of the Year being up in the air, I hope he gets a notice. Rain or shine, 2011 was the year of Rapid Redux.
You had everything in this year's Big Cap.
Here's a turn for home in the big one. Setsuko on the outside. Twirling Candy, a lot of bumping going on. Game on, dude, shifted out.
The race in itself was everything a Big Cap is supposed to be. It was everything that took place after that that makes this one of the most memorable Big Caps.
Setsuko, game on, dude, so close.
That's as rough a stretch run as I've ever seen in the Big Cap.
Absolute mayhem right after the race. People running around, not sure what's going on. Folks going down to the steward's phone to talk.
Boys, we're going to be here for a little while they figure out what has actually happened here.
Jeff, if you're a steward, what call do you make?
I got to take her down.
I had no problem with my horse. He was straight as an arrow.
They wanted the insiders who wanted to come up.
It seemed like everybody wanted to give their own 2 cents.
Jockeys claiming foul, trainers claiming foul.
Bob Baffert's on the phone with the stewards. And once he's off the phone with the judges, he's telling Chantel to get back on the phone. What does this mean? Sutherland is going back for a second conversation with the stewards.
Glad I'm not sitting up in the steward's booth today.
That's the thing. That's what an unenviable position to be in for the stewards to have to make that call.
If I ever in a lawsuit or if I ever in court, I want Chantel to give the closing argument.
I don't know what they were selling. I don't know what version of the story they were pushing, but it worked. It has just been announced, no change.
And when the dust settles, Chantel Sullivan had her picture taken.
And it's unfortunate that most people here bet on Twirling Candy and everybody's upset, but this horse, I mean, Chantal, she rode a great race. You know, we were hoping he would win it, and he did.
It's going to be a long time before anyone forgets Game On Dude winning the 2011 Big Cap.
My favorite moment of 2011 did not occur on the racetrack. Instead, here at Santa Anita, in the walking ring, prior to a race where a horse of mine named Cian Sage was going to run. Our guard, John Shear, put his life on the line to protect a young girl from my horse who had gotten loose in the walking ring prior to the running of his race.
The meet at the Great Race Place was in full swing. But in the blink of an eye, it would all change.
I was there, and this man had a little girl, and the little girl wanted to see the race. And I heard somebody shout out, "There's a loose horse, a loose horse." So I quickly shouted to people, "Scatter, get out of the way, people, there's a loose horse, get out of the way." And people just climbed over chairs, climbed over benches.
John just stepped right back in front of her, knowing what was coming, knowing he was taking a bullet for this little girl, basically.
So I quickly grabbed hold of her, pushed her out of the way, and as soon as I got her out of the way and I stood up, the horse hit me.
5 just ran back and ran over, threw out, and is like heading back home.
John suffered several fractures to his lower back, a broken cheekbone, and several lacerations to his left wrist.
I'm glad I did this thing. I'm glad I did it. I had no hesitation in doing it. What has to be done now is to save the little girl, and I'd do it again. I'm 90 and she was 5. I've lived a life and she hasn't.
By protecting this young girl John Shearer performed the most courageous act I've ever seen at a racetrack.
For me, my favorite moment this year was back in the beginning of the year when Tim, my husband, was training bench points. He was coming back off a layoff.
Post-parade for the Friday feature. Bench points returns for Tim Yakteen.
Yeah, coming off a layoff from September, this horse is undefeated. Took the I'm Smokin'.
And being his first race back, the pressure was on. And when the pressure's on Tim, the pressure's on for us as a family.
There is Millie, by the way, watching Tim's 3-year-old resurface.
Do you see the two kids?
Yeah.
The one bouncing, that is Ben.
Yeah, Ben and Sam.
I was able to sit with Tim and root the horse home with my family there, and he won. And that was definitely my favorite memory from this year.
Bench points flying at Derulo with 50 to go, and bench points has got him.
All smiles from Tim Yakteen.
Congratulations out to Yak, Millie Ball, Sam, and Ben.
When you have a nice horse, they make you look good.
Every day I'm on set congratulating hundreds of people who get to go to the winner's circle after their horses won, and for once the shoe was on the other foot.
It's not only all about Millie with the accent that can win a race. I actually had my turn in the spotlight cheering on my own Kelly Leak. I got to listen to Kurt Hoover for 10 minutes before the race, dogging one of my most prized possessions.
Zoe Cadman standing by, the third member of our grandstand team. She's in the winner's circle. Zoe, good afternoon.
Good evening.
I hope Zoe and I can still remain friends, but I don't like Kelly Leak at all in this race, Lafitte. I thought his last race was very poor. I personally think he needs a drop in claiming price because he just seems to kind of soured up a little bit.
But Kelly Leak's in front as they run down to the wire, and Kelly Leak will win it. Kelly Leak wins it well.
But one of my most favorite moments was having him eat humble pie directly after the race.
I think you owe Zoe and Mike Mikowski both an apology.
Why do I think we might be in the wrong spots? I mean, Zoe should be sitting here doing the analysis, and I should be doing interviews down there.
You'd think she was the winning owner. Celebrating.
Yeah, she was.
There it is.
She was pretty keyed up and on. Hopefully, Zoe and I can remain friends after my crack analysis there of race number 5.
And Mr. Hoover, apology accepted. But I will take that Christmas basket.
Well, one afternoon I was sitting on the set covering the Saratoga Special with Scott Hazelton, and this race always has promising 2-year-olds in it, but one colt, when he came out in the post-parade, just jumped out at me.
Lighting it up with workouts in his last 2, one at Saratoga, one at Fairhill. I like those quick Fairhill workouts.
He gets a wow from me. He looks amazing. What a good-looking horse.
The inside post is the only knock against him.
It was Union Rags. I even wrote wow on my past performances. He was trained by Michael Matz and even reminded me a little bit of Barbaro.
Union Rags, just a 2-year-old frolicking in the mud.
Doesn't look like going on will be much of a problem going on past 6.5 furlongs. Wow. Nice victory.
Gorgeous, tall, talented horse and still green. But what a nice performance. Well, Union Rags went on to win the Grade 1 Champagne at Belmont Park, and he even finished second, beaten just ahead in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. He'll be one to watch on the 2012 Derby Trail.
When HRTV Rewind returns.
Hazelton gets smooched by Zito in the winner's circle? All right, I'm jealous.
Excuse me for this, but even grown men cry.
Congratulations, Nick.
You're watching HRTV Rewind.
And they're off.
So I went to go pay a visit to the Derby winner at his kingdom at Fairhill. And we had a great morning, spending some time with Graham Motion and everybody at Animal Kingdom's barn. And then I was anxious to get back to Pimlico so I could tell my co-workers about how much fun it was, and almost didn't make it back. Connie is getting ready to go to Fairhill. I don't know. We don't know where we're going. My GPS is broke, but Connie seems to have directions. Oh, look, there's the directions. We're in good shape. This is working out so well already. All right. I'm going to drive because I think that Connie drives slow and I don't have any patience. This is the GPS that was supposed to get us to Fairhill. Not so much. We had to rely on Connie's instructions, which were top-notch. Maybe his instructions even better than his abilities as a camera person.
I'll take that compliment. Or was it a compliment?
It was a compliment.
Awesome.
He's afraid that I'm going to drive off the road. I'm going to stop now. We're nearing Animals Kingdom. Sheep. We have arrived. Wednesday morning of Preakness week. and Animal Kingdom's going to the track to train. Animals brought a big crowd to Fair Hill today. PETA surface because the main track's a little wet from the rain. Graham's talking to the press.
This is what everybody involved in racing wants to be involved in, so it's exciting for everybody, from the hot walkers to the riders to the assistants.
Okay, bye Fair Hill. It was fun. We'll see Animal Kingdom on Saturday in the Freakness. The car was still on, and I get into the car and I go again, and it goes. I think the car was already started. Sorry, I'm a rent-a-car. So now you know why they don't give me a company car.
Well, you really have to hand it to Charlestown for what they have done with the Charlestown Classic. $1 million race, and it was graded for the first time in 2011.
Game On Dude, the Santa Anita Handicap winner, had shipped all the way from California for Bob Baffert to face a tough group of East Coast handicap horses.
You know, one thing about Game On Dude that he got onto my radar screen, this was a horse who was good enough to finish 4th in the Belmont Stakes last year.
Tackleberry hasn't missed a beat since he broke his maiden first time out on September the 10th of last year.
His way, good enough to finish 3rd in the Grade 1 Jockey Club Gold Cup 2009 behind Summerbird and Quality Road. I mean, talk about tough competition there. And this is an example of depth. Here's a millionaire, and he's 6-1.
Yeah, Gone Astray's a millionaire as well. Duke of Mischief won the Oakland Handicap last year, and he's 6-1 on the board.
Awesome Gem, he's burned over $2 million, and he's 11-1.
And the $1 million purse goes to Duke of Mischief.
It's always been a horse that his best race puts him in the mix in these sorts of events. It's got to feel very good to hold that trophy in your hands this evening.
It is. I'm in Arkansas. We were at the Arkansas race today and decided to watch this one on TV because of the weather, so we've enjoyed watching you guys.
It had one of the strongest fields of older horses at any track in the country for the entire year.
Dialed In's got him. Dialed in, won the Florida Derby.
The one thing that I'll remember from 2011 began way back at the beginning of the year with Pursuit of the Crown, when I started to call Nick Zito about his very promising 3-year-old Dialed In. And it just sort of snowballed up until Florida Derby Day, when after the horse won, got one of the best interviews that I have ever gotten in my entire life from Nick.
Nick, you told me a month ago that if everything went right, we would be standing right here having this conversation. What was going through your mind as your horse was 10 lengths out of it early on?
Well, as you know by now, I'm kind of a blessed guy, and I can't thank God enough, number one. I can't thank you, number two, because you've been in my corner, HRTV, I appreciate it. All the guys, Jeff, everybody. I'm emotional tonight. I haven't been this emotional since Strike the Gold.
What is it about this horse?
So, I don't know. It's amazing, but I'm not ashamed of it. I can tell you that much. He's just an amazing horse, and I just hope God stays with him, and at least one more race anyway.
I got one of the best interviews that I've ever gotten working here at HRTV, the just raw emotion of Nick Zito, and it just came together with the kiss.
Excuse me for this, but even grown men cry.
Congratulations, Nick.
When we got to Kentucky, I honestly was maybe a little worried what would have happened between me and Nick if this horse would have won the Run for the Roses.
Here at HRTV, you think my job is easy? Well, interviews are very hard to come by. I have to do a lot of things behind the scenes. Sometimes you don't even see for people to grant me an interview.
I'm here with trainer Carla Gaines. Hi, Carla.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great, Carla.
Hey, listen, I've got to go watch my horses gallop. Can you hold these guys a minute? And just in case, here's this.
Oh, nice, nice.
I tell you what, they told me I should have stayed in school, boys.
Dale, your wife said you like short women. Is that true?
Very true.
Upperline, what do you think of James Graham? He smells? What happened to your hand in the saddling paddock?
I hit you.
You ready for an interview?
We're ready.
What do we got to do first?
If you'll get the shed rows raked up. We're still lacking a little over here, so we need a little help. I think oh, thank you. There you go.
Ham, lettuce, tomato. Geez, the things that I do for an interview on live TV. Here you go, mate. How does that look?
They look very good, thank you.
Coming up on HRTV Rewind.
When Bob Baffert tells you he has a colt who is a fast, freaky son of a... You'd better listen.
And it's Secret Circle out here, moving like a winner. Secret Circle shifted around, but he has won it just under a length.
You're watching HRTV Rewind.
And they're off.
Inside the HRTV Broadcast Center, one is expected to conduct himself in a professional manner, not go over the top on the cheering and the enthusiasm. But my favorite 3-year-old filly was running in the Grade 1 Alabama Stakes in the middle of August at Saratoga. And well, I kind of liked Royal Delta.
And Royal Delta goes on to win the Alabama convincingly.
Brad, your words were beautiful following the Alabama. Whoa, we're not going to get 5-1 on her again.
I loved her in the Alabama today, Royal Delta. She is a very good lightly raced daughter of Empire Maker, trained by Bill Mott. I don't think anybody expected to see her win off by more than 5, but it was impressive, and I hope I didn't make too much noise over in the room.
Are you kidding?
while
It
we
was
were
perfect.
watching.
I like a co-host in a good mood before my shift.
Well, it turns out that Royal Delta was a lot better than any of us could have imagined. She won the Alabama in a romp, and 2 starts later, she won the Breeders' Cup Ladies Classic.
And Royal Delta, perfectly handled, has taken the Ladies Classic. She's won a division for the year, too.
Speaking as one California bred to another, for me, the great story of the Breeders' Cup was Amazombi.
You were just on Amazombi. How'd he go?
He went awesome. You know, we took him into the paddock, schooled him a little bit, which he handled very well. Backed up and just went a little faster than a 2-minute leg for 3/8 of a mile. He went 39. Handled the track great. He was having a good time and happy coming back.
You've got a great story in Bill Spar, a workman-like horseman, starting out with the claimers, getting a few handicap horses, and now arguably has one of the great sprinters in the world.
But Amazombi's got him, and from here on in, it's just a matter of how far. Amazombi and Mike Smith have won the Ascension Jet Breeders' Cup Sprint.
Bill Spar coming up with the sprint win, had some competitors in the past in races like this, but it all came together for him this evening.
It came together for him, and here's a horse that was a throw-in. They bought another horse. This horse tagged along for the van ride, and Bill Spar owns half of him and got him ready. And I think the world of Bill Spar as a person and a horseman, and that was one of my feel-good moments of the day.
We were watching the yearlings go, and the manager said, I've got a couple horses going the track you should look at. They're for sale. I said, that's fine. And he says, well, what are they worth? And I says, I don't have any money. I'm not interested in them. He said, well, put a number on them. I said, 5,000. I said, for him, because he said the other horse was a better horse. He thought I said them. So he was cold that day, and so a couple of days later we sent him a check, and he said they will be in tomorrow. And I said, they? He says, didn't you mean Amazombi too? And I said, yeah, oh yeah, I sure did.
To finally see Spar get the recognition he deserves on a national stage by winning a Breeders' Cup race, that had to be fulfilling for him, and just as a racing fan, and because of his loyalty to my father, I couldn't have been happier for Spar.
The Breeders' Cup expanded its race menu in 2011 to include the Juvenile Sprint, a 6-furlong race for the fastest 2-year-olds in the country. The problem was, as of early November, there wasn't a favorite for the race.
Here's the 4 Secret Circle. Not the livest race he's come out of, Brad.
No horse that he defeated in that maiden race has since won a maiden race. But during the autumn meet at Santa Anita, an impressive 2-year-old who had not started in 2.5 months by the name of Secret Circle made his comeback for trainer Bob Baffert in the Jack Goodman Stakes.
And it's Secret Circle out here, moving like a winner.
This is a very good sprinter. In fact, he is so good that he just ran 6 furlongs in 108.27. Amazombi went 6 furlongs in 108.24 2 days ago. This horse is one fast son of a gun.
1 month after the Jack Goodman, Secret Circle started as the 2-5 favorite in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Sprint. He won that race too.
The 2011 Breeders' Cup Juvenile filly looked like a one-horse race on paper.
Gary, who's your best bet of the Friday Breeders' Cup card?
My Miss Aurelia is my favorite of the day.
And do you see any changes in her?
Not wanting any changes. You know, we're wanting more of the same. Ray's happy, we're happy.
It turned out that it was going to be a one-horse race. My Miss Aurelia was undefeated with a brilliant victory in the Frisette going into the race.
Is it surprising to you that this is your first juvenile filly starter in all the Breeders' Cup runners you've had?
Yeah, you know, she's a very good filly, and I think obviously deserving of the accolades she's received.
My Miss Aurelia, like no other horse in any division, dominated her division this year 4 in a row, and her Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies win gave me goosebumps.
But my Miss Aurelia is going to remain unbeaten in a dazzling performance. My Miss Aurelia and Corey Nakatani have won the Grey Goose Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. Wow!
My Miss Aurelia didn't disappoint. She won by as far as her jockey Corey Nakatani wanted her to.
She's just an amazing filly. You know, it just feels good to get back to riding the big races and having a chance going back east to ride for Steve's, and just the opportunity to get on nice horses. It just, you know, that's what we all come out here for, and to get that opportunity again, it's a pleasure.
And my mother, this is factual, has been to 19 races for me or for Barbara or when we've been with her at the races, and she's won 16 of them. So to have her at these big races and have them work out with her namesake is way beyond my expectations.
Funny thing is, she's 150 to 1 in the early books for the Kentucky Derby right now. She's going to be about 8 to 5 in the early book to win the Kentucky Oaks.
When I'm not walking horses for trainer Dale Romans, I'm getting horses to walk my dog. This is Big Mac, and he made friends with Zazu. Look at the sky. Beautiful morning. Early bird catches the worm, and that is the worm we are looking for. 6 o'clock, she's out at her usual time. Zazoom, zoom, off into the sunrise. It's all systems go at the saddle barn. Zazu gets her kid off. We got the zoo over here and the Big Mac over here. Look, she's looking at Big Mac. You want to say hi to Big Mac? What do you think, Mac? You like the zoo? Look at Zoo. She's trying to walk the dog. See that? Leave him alone.
When HRTV Rewind returns.
Remember his last race in the Queen Elizabeth at Newmarket? I actually thought he could lose that race. No.
Rankle remains unbeaten and wins the QE2.
You're watching HRTV Rewind.
And away they go.
There's no place that I'd rather be than the racetrack, and we've been treated first class by First Call sponsor West Rock Coffee. We also got a chance to go to Maryland, where we were attacked by Shaq in the Preakness.
One of my favorite horses of the year has to be Shackleford. I got to walk him at the Preakness. In fact, trainer Dale Romans is going to give me a job as a hot walker if this whole HRTV thing doesn't pan out. This is hallowed ground. This is Shackleford. Love a man with a big, bold face. If you were a man, you'd be Brad Pitt. The long and the short of it, there's Tammy, and here comes Dale.
Handicapping races at Churchill Downs to see how we can make a little money so we can pay for our hotel room over here.
Give me a winner.
To tell you the truth, we may be handicapping yesterday's program, so if it
But then you can pick all the winners.
If it is, it's going to be a lot easier.
Done, dusted, cooled out, walking home. Dale's doing some work. Need a hand with that, Dale?
Zoe has finally come full circle from hot walker, exercise rider, jockey, TV personality, back to hot walker. And she looks like she's pretty good at it.
How am I doing?
You're doing
good?
well.
Good? I'll keep going.
Keep it up. Make sure you get the drink of water.
He was by far the most consistent in the handicap division, and on Preakness Day, he put it all together. Maryland was the one place that Shaq could post up and get a slam dunk.
Shackleford's got the lead. Shackleford, Animal Kingdom, reaching on the outside. Shackleford has done it.
It was a very busy week and lots of fun. I was on the backside, I was on the front side, I was out in the mornings, I was walking horses. In fact, I was so busy that I had to hand off my microphone to trainer Nick Zito to do my job.
Somebody said, you look very emotional after the race. No, I was yelling at my brother because I thought he was giving me the high five, but it was little Bernie.
Well, thank you so much, Bob. And Joe, Zodi, you better take over because I'm going back to my real job.
Trainer Todd Pletcher is trying to get a little hipper these days. In fact, I think he's trying to copy my hair.
Final question. You know, they say people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. Take a look at my hair. A lot has been made of your haircut this week. We're looking at a new youthful Todd Pletcher.
Yeah, just needed a little change.
The forward with the flip?
That's it. How'd you know?
Well,
You got it too?
I got it too.
What has 4 legs, a tail, long hair, and lots of bras hanging up in his store? That will be Pegasus, Lord of the Infield at the Preakness. I got a chance to meet him.
Lest we forget the Sport of Kings, the center jewel of the Triple Crown, the Preakness race itself, without which all of this would not exist. The legendary!
To me, the most talented horse, at least that I saw in 2011, was Frankel.
Undefeated in 9 starts, perhaps the greatest horse in the world right now.
Undefeated in his 5 group races and did his namesake, Bobby Frankel, proud.
And inside the final half, he's stretching away, and Frankel maintains his unbeaten record.
Frankel, unbeaten, utilises that turn of foot to devastating effect.
A horse who is pure class. Frankel has destroyed them from halfway. An amazing performance.
What is so ironic about Frankel the racehorse and Frankel the person is how similar they are in character when you consider the competitiveness of both of them, their will to win, their determination. That's Frankel.
He had to really show how special he is in the St. James Palace Stakes. In that race, jockey Tom Quayle really did not ride him with any patience.
Frankel only about 4 lengths clear. Sophony in acceleration, half a furlong to go. Frankel with Sophony coming hard, and he's going to get close. Frankel from Sophony, but Frankel's unbeaten record is intact.
Remember his last race in the Queen Elizabeth at Newmarket? I actually thought he could lose that race. No, he won by 4 and looked every bit as dominating as he ever has.
2 quality horses are made to look mere mortals as Frankel remains unbeaten and wins the QE2.
The best news with Frankel, he's not retired. We can only expect more in 2012 and possibly a start in the Breeders' Cup Mile.
Really what sums up the 2011 Dubai World Cup was the victory by Victoire Pisa for the country of Japan. After everything that that country had gone through in the weeks leading up to the Dubai World Cup through the tsunami, it was something unbelievable to see the outpouring of emotion from the people involved with Victoire Pisa, especially those from Japan, and watching them just release all of their emotions after winning the $10 million Dubai World Cup.
How does this feel considering everything that your country has gone through?
お土産にね、持って帰りたいと思います、この優勝をね。
The big souvenir for Japan.
There's been a lot of support here at Meidan for the Japanese people. How has that been like for you guys?
感謝しております。皆さんね、大勢で来てもらってね、応援してもらってますので、喜んでおります。
I very appreciate a lot of people support us, everybody in Japan, and thank you very much for that.
Well, the world congratulates you. Thank you so much.
ありがとう。
Their motto all week leading up was hope, and that's all they needed.
One of my jobs is to head the international reports for pursuit of the Cup, for the Breeders' Cup, and following the European horses from July onwards is quite a daunting task. And this year, with Aidan O'Brien being one of the major supporters, he was actually outshone by his son. It was so gratifying for the connections, I'm sure, but also for me, having followed them for so long, that Joseph, the youngest rider ever to win a Breeders' Cup race, he was 18 years old, and as a parent myself, I know how proud Aidan must have been from that very moment.
St. Nicholas Abbey, Joey O'Brien for his father, Aidan O'Brien. History is made. St. Nicholas Abbey wins.
In the time leading up to the Breeders' Cup Turf, I witnessed Joseph O'Brien and his siblings, every time their dad ran a horse, they'd come up to the rail in their posh street clothes and watch their dad run, and they were simply fans. And when it came time for Joseph's opportunity, obviously it was minus Joseph and just his sisters there. And watching their reaction and being down there, rooting on their brother, their big brother, who had just got done winning the Breeders' Cup, was awesome.
I've been coming to the Breeders' Cup since I was very small, and obviously looking at all the big names and the big horses winning the best races around the world, and it's something that you dream about.
Most 18-year-olds, they're worried about their plans for the weekend, but this 18-year-old, Joseph O'Brien, has the pressure of riding and winning a $3 million race.
Obviously there's a certain degree of nerves, but I was looking forward to it more than being a whole lot nervous.
He's a natural horseman and he's
very well bred for the job, and he's never disappointed us. He just gets better and better.
A 5'11" jockey winning a Breeders' Cup event, that is better than Spud Webb at 5'2" or 5'3", actually winning a slam dunk contest.
I can't control how long my weight is going to stay right, but I'll try and control it for as long as possible and take it from there.
When HRTV Rewind returns.
This Pinkai thing in the Drosselmeyer deal, I don't even know how in the world this happens.
Take LSU in the points and Drosselmeyer in the Classic.
And Drosselmeyer and Mike Smith have beaten Chantel Sutherland on Game On, Dude.
You're watching HRTV Rewind.
And they're off and racing.
Drosselmeyer was widely considered a failure as a 3-year-old leading up to the Kentucky Derby because he didn't earn enough money to run in the Derby. And then when he does make his Triple Crown debut.
Of any of the Triple Crown races, I thought he was best designed for the Belmont Stakes, and I'm expecting a prime-time performance from the D-Meyer.
Drosselmeyer, an upset winner.
Lafitte, you are the man for picking Drosselmeyer.
He wins the Belmont Stakes, but still, he doesn't silence his critics. And to somewhat support that theory, he goes on a losing streak for the start of his 4-year-old campaign. He had fallen so far down the ladder. Mott was looking at the Breeders' Cup Marathon with him, not the Breeders' Cup Classic. It was Winstar who felt that he had a shot and deserved to run in the Classic after running second in the Jockey Club Gold Cup.
And Flat Out is gonna do it. Flat Out wins by 2.5 lengths. Drosselmeyer gets up for second.
I was at Belmont Park for Super Saturday, and after the Jockey Club Gold Cup, I watched Bill Mott and Jose Lezcano walk back to the jocks room. And Bill Mott, he had this smile on his face, didn't seem disappointed at all with the second place finish from Drosselmeyer. In fact, looked like he had an ace up his sleeve for the Breeders' Cup.
The Breeders' Cup Saturday arrives. He's a big long shot, dismissed as he has been for the most part his whole career.
It'll be a Mott Classic double, Royal Delta last night and the D-Meyer tonight. Take LSU in the points and Drosselmeyer in the Classic.
Yes, Drosselmeyer out of the clouds. Drosselmeyer from nowhere. And Drosselmeyer and Mike Smith have beaten Chantel Sutherland on Game On, Dude.
As soon as this horse crossed the wire, Lafitte was the first thing that came to mind, thinking to myself, how are we ever going to live this down? How are we ever going to hear the end of Pinkai sticking with Drosselmeyer? He was there for the long haul, and it worked out. A trip to the money room is all he needs to tell us to shut us up.
Game On Dude was as game as they come in the last 16th of a mile under Chantel Sutherland. But down the middle of the track, Drosselmeyer was running under Mike Smith, who'd been so disappointed last year with the defeat of his great filly, Zenyatta. I couldn't have been happier for my good friend.
Pretty good year. Mike Smith, he'll always be remembered as Zenyatta's jockey, but when we had him on Across the Board, he came wearing his Drosselmeyer hat.
You know, he warmed up beautifully, he was training really well, and I mean, he immediately got into this rhythm. His first jump out of there was just as smooth as could be, just boom.
In 2011, Across the Board, to me, evolved into a really special show. What happened was we went from being that typical ask a question, get an answer, to 3 people more or less talking.
Felt, you know, that he was going to run big. Now it's a matter if I was good enough to win or not. We didn't know that until about the 8th hole.
The list of people we had this year really went all the range. You had guys like Graham Motion, really the insights of a man fresh off a first Kentucky Derby winner.
Animal Kingdom wins the Derby!
You know, certainly you don't go into a race like that expecting to win it. You have high hopes, obviously. I felt very good about running him. You know, Barry and I watched him breeze the weekend before, and his breeze was awesome. But the minute they crossed the wire, that was something else.
Bob Baffert, the guy who's been around.
You tweet. I find that hard to believe. Saratoga, and I was walking to the paddock. I was going to go saddle Coyle, and some fan walked by and says, "Hey, Bob, I'm not betting Coyle unless I see the tweet."
And then there's Eric Guillot. Love the guy, and you never know what's going to come out of that mouth.
They would argue about who until they would fist fight to who won the money. You know?
I'm guessing there wasn't many women present.
No, the women were present, but you had to look for Adam's apple real close.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll get into that in a minute. Baffert saw me the next day, and he just goes, "Oh my God, that was the best show I've ever seen."
First Call also got a chance to visit Kentucky. They were at the Derby for 2011, and it was a zoo. Animal Kingdom, making the rest of the field look like they were running in slow motion as Graham gets his first Kentucky Derby win as a trainer. And how about the ride from John Velasquez? That, however, was not the only highlight of Derby week, as the Oaks brought together a very competitive field.
Pinked out here on Oaks Day. And we have the Grade 1 $1 million Kentucky Oaks 137th running as HRTV does continue. It's on-site coverage.
They turn for home in the Oaks, and out in front it's Plum Pretty.
And Rosie Napravnik did her Calvin Burrell impression right out of the starting gate in what I call the best ride of the year on St. John's River, a runner-up effort.
Plum Pretty needs the line. Here comes the line. Plum Pretty wins the Oaks just over St. John's River.
She's going to be ridden out to the wire to survive that late kick of St. John's River. We got a masterful ride from Anna Rose. She saved ground and was able to finish fastest of all, but too late, Aaron.
Yeah, let's go above Churchill Downs, Richard. Look at the outside horse, St. John's River breakout, and here's how good Anna Napravnik is.
Now watch this move. She shoots right to the fence from post 13, is dead on the rail, and then lets the filly carry her up into the race, saving ground. And right here you see Anna Rose Napravnik ducking to the inside. That's a Calvin Burrell move right there.
She made up a lot of ground, Aaron, on the last 50 yards. It was close. She was coming.
Are you trying to pour salt in the wound? That's Plum Pretty on the lead. St. John's River rallying in the center of the track. I don't even know what to say. What a masterful ride by Anna Napravnik.
We do a lot of talking about Anna Napravnik and how good she is. And, you know, in these big stages, on these big stages, is when you really want to see it. And you saw that situation this afternoon.
Down the lane, I'm thinking my first Grade 1, I'm thinking $1 million, I'm thinking Kentucky Oaks, I'm thinking girl power in the Oaks, and you know, it's just such a disappointing loss, but you can't take anything away from the filly. She runs so well.
And by the way, as a footnote to the Oaks, St. John's River, the only horse in 2011 to make me hoarse in my voice.
Right or wrong, I mean, we know that the Kentucky Derby is better when Nick Zito's involved in the Run for the Roses. We say it all the time. It's kind of become a saying around here. And never more was it on display than this past Derby in the week leading up with Dialed In and his antics.
First of all, this is our favorite racing show, HRTV.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're doing good with this show.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? The thing about it is they film your horse every day. When you say to me, how did he go? I said, well, you got to look at HRTV.
Every single morning that we would stop by, you would have to find some wood to knock on. It got to be sort of an inside joke between HRTV and Nicky Zito.
I thought knockwood, I thought he went nice. If everything goes good, Jerry, no. You know, when I'm saying everything knockwood is, excuse me, this is my lucky wood. Okay, if everything goes good, I'm happy.
Where's the wood? You need to knock.
Yeah, that's right.
There you go.
You're right, thanks so much. Good job.
I told him we got to carry a piece of wood around with us.
Yeah, good job.
Hey, if it works, put in your back pocket.
Good job.
Hey, whatever works.
Absolutely.
Dialed In didn't get it done with all the knocking on wood, but I can guarantee you that next year if Zito's got one in the Kentucky Derby, that he'll be knocking on that exact same barn sign every time we swing by the barn.
Up next on Rewind.
Hot Springs, Arkansas, one of the best race cities ever.
Here is Arch, trying to win one for the Logos.
Is it safe to say you're going to rent a big bus and take the Fires clan to Louisville?
They don't have a bus that big.
You're watching HRTV Rewind.
And they're off. A $5,000 claiming race at Golden Gate Fields in the middle of November doesn't generate a whole lot of laughs. But Running for Back Pay and Punch Up, they had a score to settle out on the racetrack. I liked Running for Back Pay, an 8 for 16 pro. Punch Up, he never quite got there in time.
Punch Up still favored Brad at very tepid 3-1.
Yeah, Punch Up, that's a short price on a horse who seems to have forgotten how to win. This 6-year-old gelding is 5 for 37 lifetime with 13 runner-up finishes. And over the last 2 years, 12 starts, no wins, 6 second-place finishes.
Michael Rona's one of these race callers that he's creative. He's dry.
And Punch Up is coming strongly down the extreme outside. Punch Up, the perennial place getter, tries to overhaul Running for Back Pay. Will he get his nose in front? No. running for back pay, beat Punch Up. Third's either Mind the Ladies or Metal Station.
Brilliant.
That was a great call by a great race caller.
Michael Rona himself has the ability to make an $8,000 maiden claimer or a $4,000 non-winners of 2 seem that much more interesting, and you're going to be paying a little more attention simply because he's calling the action.
One of the best parts about the First Call show is that Jeff Siegel gets the keys to the RV and drives us across the country. We did make a stop in Hot Springs, Arkansas, one of the best race cities ever.
We've saved you a seat in the grandstand. As I welcome in Jeff Siegel. Jeff, there's not many seats left in the grandstand, and there's not many chances left for these 3-year-olds to prove they belong.
They're going to have to prove it today with all the graded stakes earnings that are available. Everybody thinks the factor's going to the front. If he doesn't, this whole race turns upside down.
Here is Arch, trying to win one for the Logos, and it is Arch, heavy to hold off Nero at the wire.
All in the family, Sly and the Family Stone playing after the races, Jinx Fires and John Court with Arch.
There's so many Fires out here, they don't know what to do with it. We've got the Court, we've got the whole Fires clan. Is it safe to say you're going to rent a big bus and take the Fires clan to Louisville the first Saturday in May?
They don't have a bus that big.
If anyone has a right to burnout in the sports industry in general, specifically horse racing, it's going to be a thoroughbred trainer.
When I looked in my box this morning as the top of the news, and I was like, wow, that really is news. Trainer Larry Jones to retire. He's planning on retiring by the end of 2009.
Once he announced his retirement, the racing industry felt like we were going to lose a personality who had become a staple.
And of course, all of us in the horse industry hoping he'll change his mind.
And when he did announce that he was coming back, we were just part of the racing media, and his fans knew that his personality would be enjoyed by the viewers. Larry Jones coming out of retirement and now joining us. Welcome back. What inspired you to come back and train horses again?
Well, my wife had told me it was time for me to get off my duff and go back to work.
Maybe taking a step back and having a chance to reflect and come back rejuvenated was what he needed.
Taking care of some physical issues has really changed my life. I feel better now than I have felt in probably 10 or 15 years. Well, I actually had early stages of dementia, but we found out that was reversible whenever I quit doing the things that was causing it. That in turn taking the pressure off, and yeah, it's all been good to get back.
Much like Phil Jackson coming out of retirement and winning championships with the Lakers after retirement, it looks like Larry Jones is going to do the same after a sensational campaign with Havre de Grace.
You know, most people that take a hiatus, they have to work their way back up, but thanks to Cindy keeping the stable together, and we keeping owners like Burton Jones in the barn, and then when Rick offered me the job to come back and take the very best horses that Fox Hill has, yeah, it's great to come back at that level.
You have to go back to 1989 when Sunday Silence and Easy Goer were battling each other to find an East versus West rivalry like we had this summer when Blind Luck and Havre de Grace were dueling each other.
Here comes Blind Luck to take on Havre de Grace and Derwin Star. It's going to be a three-way thriller. Can she get up? Blind Luck, Havre de Grace, and a head bob.
Here comes Blind Luck, Havre de Grace. Blind Luck, they're going to be photoing again. Havre de Grace has done it.
Before the Delaware Handicap in July, Havre de Grace and Blind Luck had met 5 times. 4 of those finishing 1-2, and each time it was a dazzling stretch run with the winner sometimes winning just by a nose. These 2 fillies were so evenly matched.
Down to the final 16, Blind Luck, Havre de Grace, Havre de Grace, Blind Luck, Havre de Grace. Blind Luck wins the Alabama in a thriller.
Havre de Grace leads it. Blind Luck digs in with Garrett Gomez on the outside. It's Havre de Grace leading the way, and Havre de Grace is going to win the Aziri. The Delaware Handicap had been billed as the showdown between the best 2 fillies in the land. They were 2 apiece going into it. Everyone was expecting a great race. They weren't disappointed. Blind Luck on the outside. Havre de Grace is battling game on the inside. What a great pair of fillies. Havre de Grace, Blind Luck. Blind Luck did it again. Havre de Grace, what a great pair of fillies and a great race. I had imagined a great showdown, a great stretch run, but even in my wildest dreams, I couldn't have imagined a better finish than what I saw the last 16th of a mile. I had no idea who was going to win. Two brilliant fillies with the will to win like no other horses that I'd seen in a long time. It was too bad there had to be a loser.
Blind Luck won that race, but I think in the long term you might say that Havre de Grace won the war because it looks like she could very easily be Horse of the Year.
Coming down to the finish, and it will be Havre de Grace.
In all the years that Jerry Hollendorfer has been training, Blind Luck may very well be his best horse. But he's trained a lot of great horses over the years, including horses like Dakota Phone, who gave him his first Breeders' Cup winner in 2010. And with all those great wins behind him, maybe nothing was quite as emotional for him as his induction into the Hall of Fame.
I've had some great employees to help me over the years, and you can't get here without those people. Special. A special thanks to Janet Hollendorfer. Dan Ward, Lalo Gomez, Raul Avila, Angel Pandora. Special thanks to my friends that are here today, Abe Schneid and Marvin Kersner. I'd like to dedicate this plaque to all the racing fans of America. This plaque will remain at Saratoga forever, and it is forever yours. Thank you.
It's been a memorable year for trainer Jerry Hollendorfer, and it was just weeks later that he'd add to that Hall of Fame induction by gaining his 6,000th career win.
So I came into the office and the guys were just discussing about some funny commercial that just shown on HRTV, and we got into the conversation about commercials that I'd done that were funny. Anyway, I went on set, and unbeknownst to me, the research staff got on it and scoured the internet looking for this particular commercial I've been talking about.
Millie Ball. See if you can find her. She's horseback. Let's roll it. We'll discuss after.
Love is like candy on a shade. You want to taste and help yourself. Just help yourself to my lips, to my arm. Just say the word. Just help yourself to the love in my heart. Your smile has opened up the door.
Walls Cornetto. It's a love thing.
Let's first dispel the rumor that that was not Tim in the Cupid suit, and that's not how you guys met. So
It is not, but it is a love
straight.
thing. It's a love thing.
Millie Ball. She is a Renaissance woman.
I will never get to live that down. And I never knew our research team were that good. I guess America has got talent after all.
I'm guessing quite a few people ran out and got ice cream after that little bit on HRTV.